Hi guys, and welcome back to another news segment. In this week's news segment, we are going to look at a new model from BMW, namely the M135i. Now, it's not just the M135i BMW are releasing, they are releasing the 118i and the 120D, but we're going to talk about the M135i in particular because it's a performance model and it's of more interest to us and I think the most of the people that are viewing the channel. BMW have lately, with their design, been causing a lot of controversy. If you just take the X7 and its huge grille, and take the facelift 7 Series and the huge grille, and the new M135i is no exception. In the looks department, it's going to split a lot of opinions, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one, I think it looks more like an SUV, so it could quite easily be an X-M135i, and that's because of the shape. It's very van-like, and there's a practical reason why BMW have done that. It's to give more space inside the cabin, but it has destroyed the looks somewhat. And if we look at the front of the car, yes, it has a much bigger grille, and that's also conjoined, and we saw that initially on the M2 competition. A lot of people are not a fan of it, but it looks like this is the way BMW are going. On the new M4, there's rumours that that grille is going to be full length. I'm not sure how that's going to turn out. If this is anything to go by, it's very awkward looking. It looks almost like a beaver with huge teeth. The car, in other terms, it's moving away from BMW. It kind of looks a bit like a cross between an Audi A3 and a Mercedes A-Class to me. It looks very AMG 45 from the back. And from the front, especially in M Sport, guys, we've discussed it in the office, it almost looks like an evil's grinning dog. So it's going to split opinion in terms of its looks, but what about the car itself? You can see that we're sitting in front of the Mini, and the reason for that is that the new M135i is no longer a 3-litre turbo engine, but it's going to have the B48 engine, which is the same that's in this Mini, so it's going to be a 2-litre inline-4 turbocharged engine. Now in the Mini, that engine produces about 184 horsepower, and our one we've currently tuned to just over 300 horsepower, and that's exactly what the M135i will have. It's just over 300 horsepower and 332 foot-pound of torque. Tuning potential wise, knowing what we know from this car, unless they've changed something drastically, there's not going to be a great deal that can be had from that. But we'll have to wait and see when we get the specs of the engine. In terms of the interior, they've really stepped it up because they're actually going to do the ambient lighting that we've got in our F90 M5. The first time I saw that lighting was in the new X5M, and then I was really happy when they translated that over to the F90 because it really does add a lot of luxury to the cabin, and especially if you're driving at night, it just creates a really nice mood for you to drive in. In terms of the M135i's performance, it does 0 to 60 in about 4.8 seconds. It is four-wheel drive. The other models are all front-wheel drive, which is obviously a very controversial issue. The reason why we think BMW have done that is that a survey basically taken of 1 Series owners, a lot of them didn't know that it was actually a rear-wheel drive car. So that means they didn't really care. So it's really going to be a mass market model for them to make lots of money. Obviously, us guys as enthusiasts, a bit sad to see the M135i with a turbocharged inline 6 and rear-wheel drive go, but hey, this is the future. Hopefully they'll try and fill that gap with the 2 Series. The interesting thing about the M135i is that although that base is front-wheel drive, this one's going to be four-wheel drive, but it's going to come with a mechanical LSD. Now, we haven't seen that from BMW on the lower models for quite a long time. It used to be an option on things like the M135i with the performance differential, but this is actually coming with it. Knowing what we know about this car being front-wheel drive and with a diff, it's actually a lot of fun. And I've said that myself plenty of times before. Even though we've got the M2 and M3, I really like driving this car, even though it's front-wheel drive on country lanes. So with the M135i, if they've got the balance right on the chassis, it'll still be fun, but obviously it's not going to be what we're used to. Another reason why BMW have gone four-wheel drive is because of its direct competitors, which are the Audi S3 and the Golf R, which are both 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engines. Whether it's in direct response to those cars and the popularity of the S3 and the Golf R remains to be seen, it's going to be interesting to see what type of customer picks this car up and whether it's actually existing BMW owners or people who would have bought an Audi S3 and Golf R and is actually switching them over to the BMW brand. In keeping with current BMW tradition, not only have they released the details of the new model, but they've also at the same time released, or very close to release, the information about the M performance parts that are available for this car. Now, when I saw these pictures, I can say I wasn't impressed at first. They're using forged carbon or chopped carbon, which I personally detest. The first time I saw this was on a Lamborghini Huracan, and it was an expensive option on that car. And to me, it just looks a bit like dirty plastic. I don't know what you guys think. I personally prefer carbon in its traditional sort of 1x1 or 2x2 weave, which has been sort of the most common up to now. It seems like there's a trend with forged carbon now, and people are moving towards that. On the front end of the car, the front lip spoiler is not too bad, but I'm not sure what those canards are doing at the side of the car. They look lost on there. They literally look like they've just been stuck on. They look like door handles that have just been put on the side of the bumpers. Whether they do anything or not for error, I don't know, but aesthetically, I don't really think they look that pleasing. On the rear of the car, they've got the forged carbon diffuser, which kind of looks okay in its design, but again, I'm not a fan of the forged carbon look. The only thing I actually like about this M Performance kit so far is the brakes, which will obviously help with performance, and they look really cool as well. And the rear spoiler is actually not that bad. It does look very AMG-ish from the back, but design-wise, it actually looks pretty cool. So BMW have been teasing us with this whole front-wheel drive thing for a little while. Firstly in the i3, and then secondly in the 2 Series Active Tourer. But now they have actually released a full range of cars that will have front-wheel drive. Now, do you think this is BMW losing their way? We as BMW enthusiasts are used to seeing them being rear-wheel drive, and that's part of the appeal. Or do you think they're just following market trends and wanting to be successful as a company? Drop us a comment below and let's discuss what you guys think. In terms of the whole front-wheel drive thing for me, as I said, BMW for me has always been about rear-wheel drive car, being able to get the car slightly sideways, having lots of fun. But when you drive something like the Mini, it's a lot of fun and you can kind of see where the appeal is. I think personally that the M135i and the new 1 Series may take the customer who potentially may have wanted the Mini but didn't like the whole image around the Mini, and potentially it's a little bit girly. And then it's a bit more grown up. So let's see what happens and what type of customer takes up this car. In terms of BMW themselves, the designs they've been putting out recently have been really controversial, and I think it's going to get some getting used to. The images of the 2 Series Grand Coupe, actually the car doesn't look too bad, and it will be based on the 1 Series, and the 2 Series will be based on a completely different platform for what we believe. So hopefully they will have a B58 engined 2 Series with obviously 6 cylinders, a turbo and rear-wheel drive car, and that will keep all the enthusiasts happy. So that's the news. If you want to watch more BMW related news, you can watch that over here. If you'd like to watch something YouTube suggests you might like from our other videos, you can watch that over here. Now, if you did like the video, please click that thumbs up button. And if you've got any questions, you can put those in the comments for us. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel.